Welcome to the Neckbeard experience. At last I bring you the last two stories. So sit back and I hope you enjoy. Here we go. Battle of the Beards. This isn't going to beard the way you think. I don't usually do this sort of thing, but I figured, why the heck not? I got a story to tell you, and I know the internet loves those neckbeard cringe stories, so here it goes. Here's part 1 of a 5-part series. I was a freshman in college. I went to NYU in hopes of becoming a playwright. I've always had a thing for musicals, and I heard that NYU was just the place for me. So I studied hard and basically gave up my social life just to get in. Was it worth it? Debatable. Anyway, I had to live in a crummy apartment 30 minutes away from the university. I usually had to take a train, a bus, or a taxi to get there. I would have walked, but I'm 5'1", and these tiny legs aren't going to do me any good. But it wasn't too bad, as I surprisingly made a friend. He lived across the hall from me. As far as it goes, he never made too much noise, and he was pretty chill. Here's where the twist comes in. But first, we need a name for him. If these cringe stories are anything to go by, he needs a name like something Beard. But for the respect of him, I'll keep it tame. I'll call him Blackbeard. Now with a name like that, you'd expect him to be some kind of gross, disgusting monster of a human, right? Wrong. Blackbeard was uncharacteristically nice. The first day I moved in, and the moment after my parents left, the door to his apartment was opened, and out came a 6'2", 260-pound man with a Captain America shield shirt, a thick black neckbeard, baggy sweatpants, and a fedora with Marvel and DC buttons on the side. I for sure thought, oh crap, I know where this is going. I was so ready for this whole creepy grand speech on how he's better than me, or my lady sort of crap. I also forgot to mention, I'm a woman, and I'm Japanese. To me, I thought that he might have thought I was a winning prize. Ugh. He came up to me and simply said, "Hey." His voice was really deep. Not bad deep, like really nice. It did not match his face. Sadly, I did not notice this, as I was still on guard for him to be weird.
"What do you want?"
I asked, a really nasty tone in my voice. Blackbeard looked a bit hurt, like I had just insulted him, which I did.
"I just wanted to say hi,"
he said.
"I thought since we were gonna be neighbors, I should introduce myself, but I see you're busy, so maybe later."
He then went back into his apartment and closed the door behind him. I went back to unpacking, and I didn't feel the slightest bit of sadness. As the day went on, and the day turned to night, I began to feel really bad. I realized that I treated a guy that I just met poorly, and only because of the way he looked. I am many things, but prejudiced, racist, or bigoted is not one of them. At least I try not to be. I laid in bed, the feeling of guilt gnawing at me, until I couldn't take it anymore. I threw the sheets off of me, and I stormed toward the front door, flung it open, and made my way across the hall to Blackbeard's door. I knocked on it repeatedly until he opened up. I was expecting him not to look presentable, you know, with it being like 10 o'clock and all, but what I got was weirder. A lot weirder. Blackbeard wore fleece Star Wars pants, with a Spider-Man logo shirt, and an Attack on Titan's robe. It was like a mishmash of pop culture thrown into a giant cooking pot. Unfortunately, that pot was a bit mad at me.
"Well, what do you want?"
he asked.
"I want to apologize about earlier, for being rude and all."
Blackbeard nodded. He said,
"Yeah, that was a bit of a witch move, I'm not gonna lie, though I am partially at fault."
"Huh?"
"Oh, come on, look at me. You don't have to be a genius to know what I look like. I'm a neckbeard. Understand the rudeness. Just next time, wait until I do something cringy before acting rude."
Okay.
I mumbled. This was not going exactly how I thought. I mean, I've always heard about neckbeard encounters, but I did not expect this, as I've never heard something like this ever happening. Ever. I mean, someone actually calling themselves a neckbeard? Noise from the inside of his apartment flared up, so I had to peer in. Inside, I saw that he was watching Danny Phantom on a huge screen.
"Is that Danny Phantom?"
I asked.
"Yeah, I'm rewatching it until the new season of Voltron comes out."
Blackbeard said. That caught me off guard.
You watch Voltron?"
Blackbeard shrugged.
"Yeah, it's by the people who did Legends of Korra and Airbender, so I give them my support."
My heart started pounding a bit. Since I had no social life, I had been resorting to TV, comics, and movies for entertainment. I never thought that anyone else would actually like the same stuff that I do. It was a good feeling. Blackbeard noticed me trying to peer through his planet-sized body, and he just sidestepped.
"Do you want to come in and watch it with me?" You don't have to if you don't want to.
Blackbeard said.
I understand the superstition.
What episode are you on?
I said.
Literally, the first one.
He replied. We spent the whole night binge-watching the first season of Danny Phantom. It was so much fun. We laughed, we ate, we had fun. I eventually fell asleep at his place, only to wake up back at mine. I was a bit confused and really nervous that something happened, but nothing did. There was a note on the side of my table that read,
I had fun last night. I sent you to bed after you fell asleep. Hopefully we can do this again. Signed, Blackbeard.
It was written on a Batman greeting card. This guy oozed nerd, and it was really actually pretty cool. I didn't see him again for a few days, not because he went away, but because he had a busy class schedule, and so did I. Seriously, I left for school at 8 and got back at 10. 8 in the morning and 10 at night. This is what I get for following my dreams. I had class and work basically every day of the week. One day, I had my final class canceled, and I had the rest of the day to myself. Since I was in New York, which is nothing like Maine by the way, I decided to go exploring. But where to start off first? Blackbeard told me he worked at a comic book shop in Midtown. Since I had nothing better to do, I decided to go visit him. Here's where things get interesting. The comic book shop was a bit small, but it had an impressive amount of things. Costumes, weapon replicas, models, model replicas, cards, games, toys, movies, video games, comics. It was a nerd's fantasy. I felt like I was in heaven. As luck would have it, Blackbeard's shift hadn't started yet, and he wouldn't be getting there for another hour. I decided to have a look around to see everything I could. I looked at the comics, I examined the replica of the sword Frodo used, I even bought a small figurine of Red Hood. This was incredible for me, until he showed up. As more luck would have it, turned out I was being followed the whole time. There was this smell that kept filling my nose, and I couldn't explain what it was. Sure, there were other bigger sized people there, and yes, they did smell, but the smell lingered over me the whole time. I should have realized that not every fat comic book geek had the same BO. That's physically impossible. But the smell, it was horrid. You know when you take a crap and it smells bad? So you use Lysol spray to try to make the smell go away. It just ends up smelling like crap scented Lysol. That was the smell. Only it was as if Axe was sprayed by the smell that came off the liquid at the bottom of the garbage bag. Once I bought Red Hood, I turned around and found who we will call Scrotumbeard. He was 6 foot, wore a Star Wars shirt that didn't fit him, also exposing his gut. He wore skinny jeans with black dress shoes. Why? I don't know. And to top it all off, he wore a brown fedora. Nothing about his outfit matched. Nothing about him was appealing, but the worst part was his chins. You know the Goblin King from The Hobbit? The one with the dangling chin that was also a beard? That was his beard. It wasn't covered with that much hair. This guy had 6 chins. It was amazing that this guy hasn't died from diabetes or something. Holy crap. And to top even that, he greeted me with the cliched,
Hello, my lady.
ugh, why? Why?
I can't help but notice your shimmering beauty from afar.
This guy's voice sounded exactly like you'd expect. Stuffy, nasally, and high-pitched. I had heard of gross neckbeards, but this guy took the cake. Looking at him was like looking at vomit.
Can I help you?
I asked.
I was just wondering if I can help you.
He asked. God, please kill me now.
No, I'm fine.
I said. I tried leaving because at this point I could not handle the smell of Scrotumbeard. Before I could leave, I felt a big, sweaty, grubby hand grab my shoulder. I turned around and saw that he was holding me back.
No, don't go.
He said. His voice was a bit desperate.
There's so much I want to show you.
I was so close to screaming when my knight in shining armor came to save me. I am being sarcastic here, but it is based in truth, as Blackbeard came out of the break room, and he saw what was going on. I never thought I'd ever be so happy to see another neckbeard in my life.
Blackbeard?
I said. I quickly escaped Scrotumbeard's grasp, and I rushed over to Blackbeard. I made sure to stay as close to him as possible, to make sure Scrotumbeard couldn't get to me. Meanwhile, Scrotumbeard looked offended when he saw Blackbeard with me.
Is that your boyfriend?
Blackbeard laughed.
Oh, no. Scrotumbeard, she's just a friend.
Here I was thinking I'd be the one to say that, and Blackbeard beat me to it. That was weird.
What are you doing here? Why do you think?
Scrotumbeard asked.
I'm here for the next issue of X-Men, but you don't have any. Then why are you still here?
Blackbeard asked. Scrotumbeard looked offended.
I don't have to explain myself to you, Chad.
Was he an incel too, I thought?
Well, you do when you're in my shop, Scrotumbeard.
Blackbeard said, his voice getting deeper.
And if you don't have any reason to stay, then go.
Scrotumbeard looked like a child about to throw a temper tantrum, but he was a smart little butt stain. He knew how to bide his time. Plus, I was there, and I'm pretty sure he didn't want to make a scene in front of me. His nostrils flared like an untamed bull's, but then he relaxed.
Fine,
He said.
whatever. This place is boring anyway.
He turned around, then he left the store. No doubt the rule of the Goblin Kingdom.
He'll be back.
Blackbeard said, almost like a knight talking about an army that's not yet defeated. He then looked at me and said,
What are you doing here?
I just wanted to stop by and say hi, but now I think I want to go home.
I said. Blackbeard nodded.
I don't blame you.
He said,
Scrotumbeard has a way with people that sometimes makes you feel off.
Sorry.
I said.
It's fine.
Blackbeard said. I began making my way to the door when I stopped and turned around.
I'll see you later.
I said.
You too.
Blackbeard said. He went back to work, and I left the store and headed back home with my Red Hood figurine in my hand. But that would not be the last day I see Scrotumbeard versus Blackbeard. No, this is just the beginning of the long drawn-out war. This happened about 3 or 4 years ago. This guy didn't have a full neck beard, but oh lord did he have everything else. There was about 3 main people in this story, and for the sake of privacy, I'll change the names. Shane, that's me. Then we have Dan, that's the Neckbeard-in-training. Next we have Laura, that was my girlfriend at the time. Our story begins on an average day in high school. We had some free time after the test in my world civics class, so I moved to sit by Laura, and we began planning our weekend together. Our conversation was soon interrupted by a "ha" and the smell of stale Doritos and flat Mountain Dew. I gave an annoyed glance at Dan. He already had the reputation of being a creep. Keeping that in mind, I said, "You good?" making clear that I was annoyed.
I'm quite fine. It's just comical to me how clear it is you don't have any idea how to treat a woman of her beauty.
I'm paraphrasing, obviously. Okay, if that's how you feel, dude. Then he scoffs. Heh. Then he went back to reading his anime book. The bell rings and class is over. Laura and I proceeded to agree on the time I'd pick her up, and that was the day. Fast forward to later that night. It's around 8 o'clock p.m. I pull into Laura's driveway. When she arrives, she seems very upset. I look at her confused. She says nothing, just hands her phone to me, with some text messages on the screen. It was Dan, and this is what was said.
So you're really going on a lame date with that jerk?
Yes, I am, and I would like you to leave me alone.
I know you love me. He just won't let you. I'll bet he couldn't even satisfy you in bed.
What happens in my bed is not your concern.
Just saying. I can't stop thinking about you. I can't stop thinking about what you'd look like naked. Can I see? What are you wearing? I bet I could love you up so good. Let's face it, you only like him because he has a tattoo.
Seriously, go away. Do not ever contact me again.
Blocked. Now, I'm aggressively defensive, especially over Laura. I don't take this too lightly. She calms me down, and we go out for our dinner date. I wish I could say that it ended there, but right in the middle of our date, Dan walks through the door. Black boots, pants, and a trench coat, all topped off with a fedora. I roll my eyes as his odor grows stronger and stronger. The smell of this man, it burned my eyes. He sat at the table not far away from us, clearly checking Laura out. Laura noticed and smiled and softly asked,
Can I have your jacket to cover my legs?
After about 5 more minutes, I was done with Dan's crap, and I called for our check and a few to-go boxes. On our way to my car, I took Laura's hand and I kissed her. I made sure Dan saw, and I made sure to draw it out. Thankfully, that was the last time we were bothered by him. If you enjoyed these stories, please leave a like and subscribe for more. All stories from Reddit and other external sites are linked in the description below. If you have any stories you'd like to share, you can send it to my email at funwithfailure@gmail.com. And for just $1 a month at Patreon, you can get advanced audio broadcast. The link is in the description.